The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is proudly presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, and all of our sponsors. Thank you. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds, bigbarker.com/Ricky. Adam Kasabi, the official realtor of the process. Touchstone Electric Fireplaces. Go to zerodeadbirds.com. What?
When you run through all the sponsors, just a really odd array of various businesses.
Yes, it really. I'm so proud. I love them. By Nature Pet Food.
Come on.
Slow cooked with super fusion. Get it at chewy.com with promo code RTRS20 for 20% off your first order. Kinetic Skateboarding. Get 9.1% off your first order with promo code Dave Silver. And the Colony Meadery, the official gluten-free booze made from honey of the process. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
Larry, sweetie, the man is here. Say the name, I say the name, I say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
What up?
Man,
What's up,
you're
man?
there.
Look at the name, the display name.
Process.
What's up?
Come on now.
Thanks for doing this, man.
So, of course.
Really appreciate it. Long
Yeah.
time coming. We're happy to have you.
Yeah. What took you so long? I mean, we've been asking for years.
You gotta ask Jess and Jess. They were supposed to take care of it.
That's right.
Well, we're happy to have you on, man. Thank you for taking the time. I imagine like down there you have some free time, right? I mean, what's a day like aside from practice?
I mean, let's say today was actually a day off. There's really not much to do. You gotta get tested every day. And then other than that, nothing else. Like it was a day off today. I went and I got a pretty good workout in. Other than that, you just stay in your room and I mean, all I do is play video games anyway, so I'm good. But for other guys, I think they have some stuff they can do.
I'm gonna start off with a really tough question. I want to know, really getting into it right away. Why do you sometimes pull your shorts out of your butthole like you're picking a wedgie during your free throw routine?
Finally someone asked.
We gotta know.
I mean, it just started as a joke. I'm a tennis fan. You know, Nadal, Rafael Nadal, he's known for doing that. Then I'm a tennis fan. You know, I like Federer. I like watching them, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, all those guys. So I just felt like, I mean, sometimes, you know, we all have those problems and, you know, and you feel the need to put your fingers in there just to like pull it out. And sometimes it happens and it just happens to happen at the free throw when I'm at the free throw line. So every time I'm at the free throw line, I want to make sure I'm relaxed and I'm as comfortable as possible. So you just got to pick it out and knock down the free throws.
You can't be comfortable when you got fabric coming up your butt. You just can't do it.
You gotta be relaxed, especially, you know, when you're in the tie game, fourth quarter, you know, you got to make sure you're locked in and relaxed.
That's right.
So it's been several years now, and we're wondering if you think at some point Dario Saric is going to come over, and if he does, when that will be.
I don't know. I mean, we're still waiting. Hopefully he makes his decision soon. Hopefully he comes over.
I remember. So you missed your first 2 seasons, and I was just thinking for so long about like when it's gonna, like, you know, the moment that you're gonna like suit up for the Sixers and it's gonna feel so good. I remember I tweeted, one day Joel Embiid will leave the Sixers huddle and turn toward the court instead of the bench. And I remember like viscerally thinking about that and how special of a moment that was. And then I think about, I could so easily come to mind your first bucket in the OKC game, little high post, fake one way, rise up, bang, and then the same possession, next play, you block Westbrook's drive.
Oh.
What did that feel like? And what's it like knowing that I'm a 30-year-old man getting emotional thinking about it?
Well, we all love basketball. I mean, that was emotional. Even to this day, I'm still emotional. I thought, you know, going into that game or going into that season, I actually thought the reception was kind of gonna be awkward because, you know, I had just missed 2 years. You know, the city was in need of, you know, someone that could bring back my mentality of just winning and just playing hard. And, you know, I thought because I had missed 2 years, I just thought it was going to be a bunch of boos, which Philly is known for. So that's what I was expecting. And I got introduced and, you know, there was a lot of cheers and stuff. I was like surprised. And then I finally get that bucket. Like you said, I fade away, and the next play down the court, I blocked Westbrook. It was a pretty nice welcome to the league moment. It was cool. The cheers. I mean, we lost that game, but it was cool. I mean, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I didn't expect it. And from there, you know, the fans, the relationship I've had with the fans, with you guys, has been amazing.
You mentioned a welcome to the league moment. You mean a welcome to the league moment for what Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams that game? It was you were welcoming them to the league.
Yeah.
Well, my actual favorite, I sat with a friend of Mike and mine, so we were close to the court. And my favorite moment of that game was late in the game, you screaming that Steven Adams was like too small to guard you. That was my favorite moment.
I think that was around the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Game was tight. No, we were down by 2, and I hit a couple jumpers. I hit one of them, and I just started feeling myself. I mean, it's my first NBA game, man. I'm over here, you know, in the fourth quarter, already taking over. I didn't expect it. I mean, coming from college, I was never a scorer. I would never score the ball. I was basically a Rudy Gobert, just get lobs or like dump off passes and score off of that. That's the way I played. And then you go through 2 years, people expect, I mean, the notion that people have like, oh, you missed 2 years, you've had all this time to just get better and all that stuff. Like, it's not necessarily true because I was not able, in that time, I was not able to practice. Like, I was just rehabbing the whole time, even that summer, going into the summer, going into the season, like, I still didn't practice. I still didn't play enough. So I didn't really work on my game. Like, it was just rehab for the 2 years. And then you get in a moment where, oh, you finally playing and you taking the game over in the fourth quarter by scoring a couple points in your first game. Like, it was cool. And from there, I just figured out I could be a scorer in this league. And then that was it.
So you come from, you know, just starting playing basketball when you're a teenager, and now there's 15 players in the NBA who have their own shoe. That's it in the whole league. And then you're going to have yours, the process, which is the perfect name. It's finally coming out, like, soon, the next few months?
Yeah, it's coming out soon. I'll say, you know, in the release, we're going to release it in September. but we're gonna show some previews in the next, 2 weeks or so. Prior to that, maybe. So I'm excited. I mean, there's only a couple of guys that are in this position to be able to have their own shoe, and I'm glad, Under Armour gave me this opportunity to trust in me, and I think we could be doing some good things. Especially, I'm excited about this year. We got a world chance. I know. I'm sure no one probably talks about us with a 6 seed, but I bet you that none of those teams that want to play us, because I've always felt like since we got that team, during the season, we struggle a little bit, about, just getting to know how to play with each other. But I feel like we just better suited for the playoffs. Defensively, we got some guys that can guard the ball, and I'm behind. We got a bunch of playmakers. We got some shooters. We added some new guys. Shake was doing great. Alec came in. Glenn, I think they're gonna be big pieces of what we're trying to accomplish. And this is a great time, man. We got a world chance of making it happen, and that would just be exceptional, especially for me, because coming out with the shoe, and if we get to win that championship that same year, that would be amazing.
Yeah, man. Do you start to look at the playoff alignment and have a sense of like who you want or who you want revenge on a little bit more, whether that's Miami and Jimmy or Boston for 2018 or Toronto for 2019?
Doesn't matter. During the season, it was different, but we have a real chance of either playing one of the two teams you just mentioned, either Boston or Miami. We good. I think we're pretty confident in ourselves in making sure we get the job done.
Would like to see you in a final possession against Miami with Butler on you. Just take him off the dribble. You at the end of the game with a bucket over Jimmy Butler, I think would be good for Philadelphia.
Man, that's my guy. Obviously, when we play each other, we're not friends and stuff. And I'm going and then I'm trying to kill him. And obviously, he's not guarding me, but I'm trying to do my best to make sure that my team wins. But there's no hard feelings. We had him, and he's my brother. Like I always say, we were so close last year. We had a world chance. A lot of things happened. Like I still stand by whatever I've always said. Wish all these guys could have been back. JJ, Jimmy, felt like was a good team, but we also got a pretty good team this year. And with this group, we can also make it happen. So it doesn't matter if it's in the way or not. We're gonna try to make it happen.
How long did it take you to recover from the Kawhi shot going in? I'm personally still in that recovery period. Or have you not recovered yet? Because that's,
it's tough to kind of get it out of your mind because the way I looked at it, we were so close. Eventual champs, we took them to 7 games where I felt like we had the edge. A lot of things didn't happen the way, it's supposed to. I got sick, and one thing people don't know, I lived during the playoffs. Like my knee was like messed up. Like I could not jump, I could not run. I was just pushing just to make sure that I give us a real chance of winning, and just pushing on it. But we had a real chance, and you can't forget that shot. It's game 7, and the way the shot went in, and after a couple bounces, I still think it's impossible. Even the other day, with my new teammates were talking about it, and they were just like, is impossible. Like we were talking about it in like even in the religion sense, like you think God wanted that shot to go in, like was it like we were just like thinking about every scenario possible, and to me, I don't care if it went in. That was just an impossible shot, but
Yeah.
good.
And he walked.
It did, but you're not gonna get those calls.
No, you're not.
The game 7.
You mentioned your relationship with the fans, which, you know, I've lived in Philadelphia my whole life, and there have been certain players who, for one reason or another, just connect, like Iverson connected, you know, and you're one of those guys right from the beginning, and you mentioned it, connected. Has the last couple of years where you guys have been expected to be good and the fans have gotten on you every once in a while, how has that been for you, watching the sort of the relationship sort of flow from, you know, all love to now we want you to win? How has that been for you from your perspective?
It's been fun. I love it. You know, I would not want to be anywhere. You know, I would not want to be in a city where, you know, people don't come to games. I would not be in a city where people come to games, but they don't actually, they're not interested in the game. Like they have no knowledge of the game. They just come for the entertainment or just for the fun of it. I like passionate people because, you know, if the fans, if I feel like I'm not doing my job and I'm not doing it the way that I know I can or that they know they can, like I need them to make me feel like you're not doing it, because like there's different types of people. Like that's how I get motivated. You know, this year we had a couple back and forths with the fans. You know, I got booed a few times, and guess what? Like I got booed and I reacted and I made plays happen, and you know, I ended up going back to my old self, which was last year. I was playing last year, so it just motivated me. You know, if they were quiet and I was not playing well, I don't think he would help me. So I like being in that situation. That's why, like, I feel like the relationship is different. Like we understand each other, but then again, if you dish it, you also got to be able to take it. Just like when I shushed them and they were all going crazy, I'm like, well, you went bullying, and
Yeah.
I decided to react and I shush you guys. Then what's the problem? Then it's all I did, but at the end of the day, it's all love. Like, yeah, there's nothing going on, and I just love it. I just love being in a passionate city with passionate fans, people that care about, you know, us, about the game, that want us to win, you know, and we want to win too.
It's been a weird stretch since you came to the league and came to the Sixers. There's been a lot of strange stories that we maybe have never seen before in the league. It's been a bunch of weird things. And so I'd like to do this quick little quiz, or not even a quiz, of just what you think is weirder. I'm going to list 2 things and you tell me which one you think is weirder. And you can, if you want to elaborate on it, you can. If you don't want to elaborate on it, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, the Sixers winning 10 games the season before your rookie year, or the current Sixers having a worse road record than the Knicks.
I got to choose between both.
Yeah. Which one's weirder?
Which one's weirder?
Which one is weirder? Probably this year.
I hear that.
It's a bit this year.
All right.
You can't go from. I mean, I'm part of it, but it's just weird even thinking about it, and we still don't know what was going on. Obviously, that's why the other day I was talking to, you know, Ben. I'm like, and then I call Patrick Race, which is the PR. I'm like, we need some booze in here. Like, that's what get us going. Like, we're in the bubble, and when we're home and fans start booing us, we like, oh, we got to pick it up. Like, it's not good. Like, we don't want to hear it. So I got to play hard. I got to make plays. So when we're in the bubble and if we're down or if we're not playing hard. Like we need them to put like sounds of like boos from Philly fans in here in the bubble, so we can get it going.
I think there would be some Sixers fans who would volunteer to just come
Oh, yeah.
down and boo your ass
Yeah.
the whole game.
I would love it. I would love it.
All right, number two. Ben finally shooting a three during a pandemic, or starting Greg Monroe in a playoff game last year, 12 days after signing with the Sixers.
Which one is weirder?
Yeah.
I'll play the fifth.
That's fine.
That's a good. That's
fine.
the best answer. Honestly, it's the best answer.
Okay. Zaire's sesame allergy almost killing him, or Okafor getting in a fight with Celtics fans on the streets of Boston. Okay. This is fine. And then the next question.
Where's this going?
There's only two more. Markel's jumper or Colangelo's burner accounts?
No.
You can answer that one. You know that one.
Yeah, it has to be Colangelo, but
That's right. That's right. All right, last one. Which is weirder? You breaking your face on Markel's bad shoulder and having to miss some of the Miami playoff series, then having to wear a Phantom of the Opera mask that you clearly hated and that Justice Winslow then villainously stepped on, or you having gastroenteritis shits so bad in last year's playoff that you missed a game in the Brooklyn series and were clearly affected by it in the Toronto series, and also clearly farting around Marc Gasol the whole time.
Probably the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, like why I got so sick, because I never really get sick. Especially being where I'm from, like we never really get sick. The other day I was actually thinking about it. I'm like, what if the virus actually started last year? And that's what I had.
That's what you got. Yeah.
Like, I remember like
You got
that
ass
was
COVID.
That was before Game 4. Like I couldn't sleep that night. Like I was like sweaty. I was throwing up and all that stuff. Like I didn't sleep at all, and I was on IV, the whole night. And then I ended up playing, but I was it's never happened to me. And yeah, that was weird, but yeah, this definitely the second one.
All right, it's been a weird decade.
Yeah. Speaking of weird, like you're a young player, but the amount of teammates that you've had since you got here till now makes you like a vet, right? Like, do you feel sometimes like with the weirdness and the amount of players that you've gone through that you have been in the league longer than you actually have? Like, do you feel like that's taken its toll?
For sure. I've had a lot of teammates, especially my first 2 years. I just saw people coming in and out. Sam Hinkie was my guy, but he was just, basically like I would call that like a modeling show where you just go by like one works and then the other is coming. It was crazy. So I've known a lot of people and I've had a lot of teammates.
We take a break from the pod and Mr. Embiid.
Right there, Joel.
We know we have limited time, but we have to talk about our presenting sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Mike, basketball is back. The place to bet it is DraftKings Sportsbook. You have
only one.
You have until I think 10 a.m. on Thursday. So not a lot of time to get into our free hostage pool. Just go to the pool section of the DraftKings app and go to NBA Philly pool there, or over under pool. It's free to play, $500 to win. But man, return of basketball, they have a special going on right now. All users get a special odds boost for the first 3 days of the season. Bet $20 to win $100 on any team of your choosing. That's right. Any game you want to bet on, you bet $20, you're getting 5-1 odds. It's crazy. They are the top rated sportsbook in the App Store. I was looking, the Sixers odds have gotten shorter as
I saw that.
Yeah, so they opened up at plus 2,800 to win the championship. They're plus 2,000 now, and they went from plus 900 to win the East to I think plus 800 or plus 700. So it was a considerable jump on the championship odds to go from plus 2,800 to plus 2,000. DraftKings is the place you want to bet during basketball and baseball. Take advantage of all of the cool promotions they have. Sign up, go to the promotions tab in the app. And if you don't get your bet off before the game starts, it's okay. You can live bet in game, which is really addictive, frighteningly addictive, as I found.
And you might not know how a Sixers game is going to go ahead of time, but once a game starts,
you know. I was texting this guy I work with does a podcast called You Better You Bet, getting Eli, and I texted him during a Sixers game, and I was like, they're gonna lose this one, and we know, yeah. Also, obviously, great odds, great promotions on baseball, MMA, soccer, all that kind of stuff. It is based here in the U.S. It is safe, secure, reliable. You make a deposit whenever you want. You make a withdrawal whenever you want. They are our presenting sponsor. I love them to death. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code RTRS when you sign up for a limited time. All users get a special odds boost. $20 to win 100 on the team of your choosing. That's code RTRS and boost your odds. $20 to win 100 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Other terms and conditions and eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the pod.
You have this reputation as a cocky guy and a guy that likes to stir the shit, and you clearly enjoy that. But to me, you always seem to get happier for your teammates when they do something cool than when you do yourself. Like, I think about you strangling TJ after the game winner against the Knicks. I think about there's a possession against Toronto a couple years back when Dario made 2 blocks in the same possession and you pushed him in the ass on the bench. That was a real favorite of mine. And then obviously tackling Ben when he hit the 3 against our favorite Guangdong Long Lions. Which of those things stand out to you, and talk about what it's like to have those teammates that you've been through bad years and now successful years with?
I think it's great, and I think it's great to see guys grow up, just become better players. I think about TJ, where he came from. He was basically a nobody, and then he's playing a lot for us, and he's a game winner. And then I'm just so happy. I like seeing people succeed. I like, especially my teammates. I just like, guys, coming out of nowhere, and then they just surprise everybody. And now look at TJ, he's in a good spot, and he's gonna be in the NBA for a lot of years. You think about Ben, everybody else is always, try to force him to shoot the ball. But I've always told him, if you're not comfortable, don't do it. You just gotta be comfortable. And then he finally takes one, and then he makes it, and then that gives him a more comfort level to be able to take next ones. And since then he's taken a couple and he's made most of it, and that's how I started. And then you think about what he could accomplish in a few years once he starts knocking those shots regularly, and he just takes him to a different level. So I think, to me, I like seeing my teammates succeed, especially when people are not expecting it, and it just makes me happy.
In the game that you played in the scrimmages, Ben, you mentioned took a couple of them, hit the 3, and then in the 2 that he didn't. Do you feel like on some level, there's a give and take, and he's taking them on some level for you? Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily. I've always thought that for us to win a championship, when we all play together, we need to help each other. I know what to do to help him. I know when he has the ball in full court, he's unstoppable. He's either going to penetrate and get a bucket, or he's going to find guys. So to me, as a basketball player and as someone that really wants to win, I want to make sure everybody around me is also comfortable doing their best to help me win a championship. And by doing that, the way I can help him is, when he's in that situation, I can, space out and give him some space to penetrate and do his thing. And if he doesn't have anything, just be ready to shoot it. A lot of people always talk about, you spend a lot of time on the perimeter. Like I don't want to, but then again, I know that the notion of us winning a championship is not going to take me scoring like 40 points on the block. Like it's going to be a team effort. So I got to make sure everybody's comfortable doing so. And when we're in situations where, when we're in the fourth quarter and someone needs to take over, that's where I come in. But throughout the game, I got to do my best to help him succeed. And he goes the same way. And I've always thought that for us to win, like once he starts understanding the spacing and knowing that, when I have the ball on the block and, and to me, like the easier way to get out of double teams is to, just have four other guys just spaced out on the perimeter and let me do my thing. And if I get double, I'm just going to kick it out and just be ready to shoot. So he's been doing that, and I'm so happy that, he finally now understands. And that, I think that's what it takes for us to win a championship. And when you think about it, we've only played, this is what, our third year together playing. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people always, they expect, like, we've only played for 3 years, and the potential that we have. And I love him, and I want to be with him for the rest of my career, because I think he still has a lot of potential, and me too, like we can get so much better than we are right now. And like, I don't see the point of ever, playing with somebody else. So, that's someone I would love to be playing with for the rest of my career.
Well, I'm emotional now. Okay. Next question. You get to the line more than everybody in the league except for like Giannis and Harden, basically, and way more than anybody else on the Sixers. And a lot of time that's you initiating the contact yourself. Is their mindset that you're hunting out the foul call, or are you just so big and quick that they can't do anything but to foul you?
It goes both ways. I think the notion of, going to the free throw line is more about basketball IQ. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys, I've always asked myself, you got a whip through move, and you got a couple ways to get to the free throw line if you want to. Like a lot of guys don't use that, and I don't understand why. I mean, if I have an opportunity and a guy is guarding me and I see his hand is literally right in my face, all I'm going to do is just go up and get the contact and try to get the N1. And a lot of people don't do that, which I don't understand, but it's not about being just looking for fouls. It's just about basketball IQ. It's just about like utilizing the game to your advantage, utilizing the rules to your advantage. So that's what I do. Like, I just use my basketball IQ just to like make sure that I either score or I get fouled, which if I go to the free throw line, right now I hit about 81% of my.
And what else do you get to do when you get to the free throw line?
Breast. So,
pick your wedgies.
Yeah, pick my wedges.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's I think it's more about, being smarter than everybody else.
A couple of Orlando bubble questions. The first one, your dog is Klaus. We sent one of our beds, our dog beds, right, for Klaus. Yep. Yep. So if I was away for 3 months, and hopefully you're away for a while, the thing, I would miss my wife. I would miss my dog. I love my dog. Being away, what do you miss most from your regular life being away in Orlando?
I miss obviously my partner, my girl. I miss my dog. I miss my family. The people I'm always around. And I miss my bed. I definitely miss the food. I get better food when I'm home over here. I mean, I'm not going to complain about the food. I grew up from where I'm from, growing up, it's just different. But being a 7-footer and trying to eat right and trying to make sure my body stays healthy, this is not the best options for me. I've been struggling to eat, and it sucks, but you just got to do it. So I think that's what I miss the most. I got my video games here. Uh, I had, I have a 80 inches TV for my video games. So that's really all I need. Beside the fact that I miss all the things, all the people I just listed.
And then the other thing is, we've all been stuck at home for a really long time. If you could pick 2 teammates, past or present, that you had to be stuck in the same 3-bedroom apartment with for 4 months, who would they be? 2.
I'll pick Dario.
Nice.
Yeah.
If he's ever coming,
if he ever gets here. Yeah.
I'll pick. The second one will be I like Carlo Quinn. He's extremely funny.
Yeah. He seems like a good time.
I love his energy. Let me think about the past teammates I've had.
I was thinking like a Justin Anderson, maybe.
Yeah, Justin. Justin is up there. Yeah, that's probably. I was thinking my choice was between Justin and Kyle, and I was thinking about someone else. Someone that probably someone between both of them.
What was during the 3 months that the NBA wasn't on, what was your life like? What were you doing? You kind of went dark and just like.
I did. I was working out every 6 times a week. I took a break for a little bit, and then I had my trainer Drew Hanlon just come in, and for the past 2 months we were just working out about 6 times a week, just going at it and trying to get better. I wasn't really focused on. My thought wasn't really about playing this year again. I really had no idea. I was just trying to get better for the future. Just trying to make sure I stay ready and I stay in shape no matter what happened.
What do you think it takes? There's been a lot of talk during this break about what a force Tobias has been in uniting you guys, and you've always come across as sort of like an emotional leader of a team. What do you think it takes to be a leader of a championship team?
I don't know. People do it differently. Tobias is more like a guy that's going to get us together, going to dinners and all that stuff. Outside of basketball, he's going to get everybody together. And then me, practices on the court, just by playing hard. Like me, just by playing hard and, just being vocal, just talking to my teammates, telling them what I need from them, and asking them what they need from me, and just trying to understand the game that way, just trying to play hard and trying to lead them, by either scoring a lot or being a best defensively.
You are obviously one of the best rim protectors in the league, to the point that people don't really even try to go to the rim when you're there anymore. But at the same time, you look at your rookie year highlights, and you don't flash that bounciness that you did back then as much. Is that just you just got bigger and more like able to withstand like NBA physicality, or are you just more picking and choosing your spots when you do show that?
I think I'm just picking and choosing my spots. When I got to the league, I was blocking way more shots than I am now. But then again, as you get on and you got a couple years under you, you kind of start to understand NBA basketball. To me, being a good defender is not about being a shot blocker or leading the league in block shots. It's all about, I'm sure if you ask my coaches and my teammates or anybody, that will tell you I don't go for, first of all, people don't go up to me anymore. Like they don't drive to the paint when I'm in there. So it's already harder to block shots. And when they do, it's just about, coach always calls that a cat and mouse game. Like you gotta, pick and choose your moment. Like you gotta kind of fake it, act like you're gonna block it, or you gotta kind of fake the guard, making sure that you get your man back into the action. If they're coming up for pick and roll, you get your man back into action and buy some time by, just faking and then going back to your man and just playing that two-man game. It's hard, but once you in it and you've been in the league for a few years, you kind of master it. And I think that's where I've gotten really good at it. And that's what makes me a great defender. It's just about, like I always say, like the IQ. Like it's just about know and picking your spots.
Who would win a game of one-on-one up to 11 by ones with threes counting as twos? Isaiah Cannon or Hollis Thompson?
Isaiah Cannon or Hollis Thompson? I love Hollis.
Me too, man.
Hollis should have still been in the league.
Agree.
He embodies 3 and Ds. That's what the league is about nowadays. Shoot threes and play defense. I would say Hollis because it's bigger.
All right.
That's right. That's you just settled a real nice bet for about seven years of me and Spike getting into fights about that. So thank you for me winning that bet.
What do you think?
I love Hollis.
We both love Hollis, but I love Isaiah Cannon. I just love dudes that will shoot, will pull up.
Yeah. But Hollis can shoot it too.
That's right.
He can, but one-on-one.
40%, baby.
He might not have as good of a handle as Isaiah, but he can get it up.
I have to ask, so many people want to know, your pinned tweet is still the Undertaker gif rising from the coffin at Markel. Is that still up for a reason, or do you just not know how to unpin it?
I know how to unpin it.
Okay, good.
You talking to someone that used to be, the king of Twitter. I know how to. For some reason, it's still on. I still love Markel, and I still wish that things could have worked out. But I'm also happy for him. He seemed to be doing great in Orlando. So he's still up there. I mean, the only thing that would probably change it is, I don't know, when I win a championship.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what we needed to hear. Well, so you mentioned this is only your 4th season and Ben's 3rd, and you guys together. Michael Jordan, who you've obviously are a big fan of, didn't win a title until his 7th season playing. Do you ever think about, like, you talked about how you guys are going to grow together and keep getting better and hopefully stay with each other your whole careers. Do you ever think about what it's going to feel like when you win one? Like all the adversity you've been through and all the team and the city's been through. Like, have you in your minds played out what it's like to be on that stage, like holding up the championship trophy?
It's hard to play it out until it actually happens. I always think about it like, you win that first championship, and obviously the things that are going to come back to my mind is, where I'm from. I started playing basketball at 16, and, I was able to make it to the league 3 years later. And then you go to, missing my first 2 years. And I always say, like, my life is a movie. Like, everything happens so fast from the time I came to the U.S. and I started playing basketball, and then I got to the league and Kansas. I go to Kansas. I thought I was going to be there for like 5 years. I thought I was going to redshirt. And
Tark Black bodied you.
Yeah, he dunked on me. I was like, this ain't for me. That's too big. That's too physical. And then you get to the league, you miss a lot. The first 2 years, and then the last couple of years I've been great. Just getting better and just. It's crazy. You can't I hope it happens in a few months, and I'm gonna do my best to make it happen. But you can't really play it out until you get there. But I'm sure it's gonna be emotional, and it's gonna be great.
So we have one more question for you that we ask everybody, but before I do, I just want to let you know that like, so we started this podcast 7 years ago, right at the beginning of all of this. And the only people who have been here that entire time on the Sixers are Brett Brown and you. And actually, we started the podcast before Brett even got here too. So, and your journey, like we feel like we've been on it with you, and all the like the setbacks and the Mike, and you mentioned the Oklahoma City opener and the pain against Toronto. The reason that we all love you so much is that you've gone through all of this with us at the same time. And you should know that when we do give you shit and you give us shit back and all that kind of stuff, it really is what Philly's about. And we truly appreciate you because you've been through this. So thank you for appreciating us for us as in Philadelphia for who we are, but thank you for keep going. And it means a lot to all of us.
Of course, thank you.
All right. So we do this thing called the jigsaw. And what the jigsaw is I give you two options and they're for the rest of your life. And you have to pick one or the other. They're both bad options. I'm just warning you. Okay.
Play.
I will play this game.
Game we play.
I will play this game.
I miss you.
I will play this game.
I'm worried. Play.
I will play this game.
And after the game, they were interviewing him, and they said, how does it feel to win the ultimate game? And he said, if it's the ultimate game, why are they playing it again next year?
So the first option is, for the rest of your life, your shoes and socks are always soaking wet, like they've just been dunked in a pool. It won't be like this during a game, but any other time, if you go to dinner, if you go to the mall, your socks are squishy, your sneakers are squishy, like they've been dunked in a pool. Or every drink that you have for the rest of your life is warm. It's not hot, but it will never be cold. You'll never have a cold drink again. So you have Gatorade on the sideline, it's warm. You have a drink at dinner, it's warm. Everything's warm. So do you want the wet socks and sneakers or the warm beverages?
I go with probably the warm beverages.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah, you gotta go with that. You can't get through with that. But if
Sloshing
you go
around
smooth and soaking wet all the time, nah.
I think that's the right call.
Thank you, man. Good luck. We can't be there obviously, but we're all cheering for you guys, and we're excited for you on Saturday.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, man. Hey, go bring back a ring.
I got you.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Yes, sir.
We did it.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
There we are, buddy. There it is. Finally happened.
Wow.
Yeah. Finally happened. There it is. Joel Embiid on the Ricky.
That was cool, man. That was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, he was cool. He was laid back. I think the immediate question you asking about picking the wedgie out of his ass, it seemed to resonate with him.
Do the trick.
Well, none of those fucking coward beat writers would ask him. I mean,
no one would ask.
Yeah, no one would ask.
I'm the only one brave enough to. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe, and thanks to his people for setting it up. That was, I mean, come on, he's the guy. Like, he's the absolute guy. We dreamt about him before he got here. And then now when he got here, it was like, oh, you're the person we want to build around forever. And so for him to finally come on the pod, we gave him his goddamn nickname.
Yeah.
And now he's going to put it on a friggin' shoe.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get to that question. So before we get going, so speaking of his shoe, the Process One, the Under Armour shoe, we are going to have, when the shoe comes out, we're going to be able to, thank you to Under Armour, thank you to Joel's people, we're going to have an autographed pair of Under Armour Process Ones to give away, and a huge like Under Armour prize pack to give away. And I pitched them, people in 100 words or less what the process means to you. So we'll have a giant contest
Sure.
to get the autographed process one. So thank you. Yeah, like you mentioned, thank you. It only took a couple of years.
Yeah.
Asking.
I love how seriously he took the Hollis Isaiah Cannon question.
Yeah, I don't think he gave an honest answer, but that's fine.
Wow. Doesn't even listen to that. It's over forever.
Yeah.
Hollis, 40% every time.
It seems sort of fitting that like now was the time. We were talking. So this became a reality about 3 days ago or something. And what was I going to say? And it seems, and Mike, you had mentioned that, like, and I thought the same thing, that we thought the best way to have Joel the first time would be to have him, at a live show. Yeah. And it's sort of a bummer that he wasn't at a live show. That said, it sort of feels fitting that after, like, right now, like the fact that he's stuck at Disney World, he's not allowed to leave, like there's no fans. This, if it couldn't be a live show, it does seem like this is the most appropriate way to have him on the podcast.
Yeah, very, very insane. I thought he was great.
Yeah,
and I thought that the stuff that he was saying, stuff he said about Ben, warmed my cold, bitter heart.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm still reeling from it. We had to take a break so you could do a Chuck Klosterman book event, but I'm now back in the mindset I was when we just had the interview. So, I mean, come on, if this doesn't hype you up to let this weirdly clunky group of people that may not have liked each other, but now that they're imprisoned together, they do like each other a little bit more, and it's just really, it's good. It's good. Let's win this thing.
Do you want to? So I feel like so this will be our last podcast before the regular season starts, the seeding round on Saturday night. And by the way, if you want to get the playoff tie-dye in time for the playoffs, order it by Friday at noon. And if you want the new 10% off promo code, sign up for the newsletter, right? RickySanchez.com/newsletter. Hot take. What do you got? Siren behind you.
Oh, they're not losing a game in Orlando. 8-4-4-4.
Oh, so I feel like we have to do a little like prediction part of this. Like this is, so if we didn't have Joel Embiid, the best player on the Sixers, the process that we gave his nickname to, if we didn't have him on the pod, this would be a pod sort of like looking ahead as to what these 8 games and the playoffs will hold. I feel like we have to do some of that. Like I feel like we have to talk about what we think is going to happen. I have some over-unders. Like, do you want to do that? It feels appropriate to do.
Yeah, I have a bunch of notes from the Oklahoma City and Dallas game, but I don't care about them.
Right.
I'm looking at a bunch of words, and I see little Horford shake, pick, and pop, I see. And that seems like what a worthless thing to say after we just had Joe on the pod.
Yeah. Why don't we?
I'm just smiling. I'm just in a very good mood. What a foreign concept.
I've been assured, by the way, that he's physically fine. Now
he seemed it. Judging, I can read. I'm not a doctor, but I can read people's postures on Zoom pretty well.
Right.
And so I think he looks good. I think he's fresh and clean.
And the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by the official law firm of the process. That is Kornblau and Kornblau and Kornblau.
So during this part of the interview with Joel, I would estimate, because we had the air conditioning off, I'd estimate that I'm very sweaty at this point, like firmly very sweaty. Could I sue you for being too sweaty on the job and injuring myself in some way?
Why would you? I'm equally as sweaty. I'm like, this is terrible. My wife, I'm sure, is fucking miserable right now. I think
I'm just asking the question, Cornblow.
she could sue both of us.
That's fair.
Kornblau is the official law firm of the process, trusted sponsor. First of all, like, look, Kornblau and Kornblau, premier boutique personal injury law firm in the Delaware Valley, 40 years. Him and his mom and a bunch of other Kornblaus have been doing it. Some of the best medical malpractice results in the Delaware Valley. But if you're a Ricky listener, if you have any sort of legal question, he's your guy. You're
Really is.
you have a shitty landlord, he's your guy. I don't know, what other legal thing could you get into? You want to trademark Lickface, he's your guy. If you need any legal advice at all, he is your guy. He's a good man. He is part of our community. He's trustworthy, and he has been able to help so many Ricky listeners with so many different things. Any lawsuit, especially personal injury, is going to take a long time. You want somebody who's going to be honest and sort of like talk you through it, calm you down. He's your dude. Any sort of personal injury, medical malpractice, injured at work, slip and fall, all that kind of stuff. If you think you might have a case, give him a call or shoot him an email. It doesn't cost you one thing. 215-576-7200 or Kornblau at kornblau.com. Kornblau spelled with a K and the rest.
ORNBLAU.
Oh, yeah. Back to the Ricky. Why don't we do, so we had the over-under pool on DraftKings, the $500 over-under pool, which, by the way, has like 17,500 people in the pool right now. So I'm sorry, there's a lot of people in the pool. I came up with some other over-unders that I could give you, and that will cover the entirety of the bubble time. So it will cover the seeding round and playoffs, and I want you to sort of, and maybe these will spur like some sort of other thoughts you had from watching the two meaningless scrimmage games that didn't even have Embiid in them. Total starting lineups, over under in the playoffs and the seeding round. Total starting lineups for the Sixers, over under 2.5.
I will say over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think at the very least you're going to get an Embiid not playing game,
right?
And Horford will, and so that at least that banks the like, well, what if Shake is bad? What if Josh is bad? What if somebody gets hurt? Like, I think that's a pretty safe over on 2.5.
Yeah, I was coming up with the starting lineup they have now, the Horford starting lineup for some reason, like against Milwaukee or against, like if they're having trouble, that feels like the first move that they make, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And yes, and then there's the Embiid sits out a game sort of thing. Total game-winning shots the Sixers hit. And this is a shot, I would say, in the last 10 seconds to win the game. Over, under 0.5.
Oh, I'll say over.
Yeah?
I'll say over.
Easy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like the games are going to be strange. We already know that, like, playing in front of no one, there's going to be lulls. The Sixers are certainly going to be up big in a game and then let that lead totally evaporate, and so then someone's going to score something at the end of the game. And so I feel like we're due for one at least non-Jimmy Butler good Sixers buzzer beater type moment. Maybe Korkmaz at Portland Redux.
Is your mic the actual Yeti, or is it your? Can you hit the mic button and make sure you have the right one?
No.
It sort of sounds a little bit like it's your Mac microphone. Oh, yeah, it's fine. Okay, just making sure. Yeah.
You'll cut that out.
What's that?
You'll cut that out.
Maybe it's sort of charming.
No, cut it out.
I can't cut.
This is a good.
I can't cut it out of the video. It's too much work. I'll cut it out of the audio. That's okay. the deal I'll make for you.
Fair enough.
Total game-winning shots against the Sixers. Over,
8.
under what?
8.
8?
Every time.
Over, under 1.5.
Under. Especially, first of all, we're due for...
Well, you're flying high. You're just fucking...
Well, Kawhi, we're owed... There's so much goodwill banked after that.
Is there? Or have we earned all the bad will in the world?
No. There's no... It can't get worse than that. It just simply can't. And especially with this team, how big they are, they are more likely, as we know, to blow a lead or just fall asleep and not be there. If they're gonna exist at the end of a game where they're close,
Yeah.
their end of game defense is long and imposing and prohibitive. So I think that I feel good about saying under.
You're just fucking on one. I love it. You're just
Embiid basically committed to playing with Simmons for the rest of his career, and I think that's a ironclad podcast agreement. So I do feel good about that. Yes, he said I love him. He said I love him.
We could throw this back in his face years from now if
yeah, there's nothing he can do. If we throw it back in his face, everything has to stay the same.
Right. Over under total games that the Sixers play that Joel Embiid does not play in. Over under 2.5.
Under. He looks fresh. He's got something to prove. He looked me in the eye and said that he was going to try to win a championship and bring one home for us. So I feel, look, man, you caught me on a good day. I didn't make him say that much about Shake.
No, it was almost.
I could have made him say so much more about Shake and Matisse, and it didn't even.
There's almost no Shake stuff in there.
He brought him up, which was good. I had a bunch of questions we didn't get to because we, Well,
it's
we wanted to get to the good stuff, but you couldn't do everything. There were a few other things that I didn't want to ask, but I tried to in the game of what was weirder. I tried to lump in all the strange things that I'd want to ask him about over the years.
I would mention the YouTube for the What Was Weirder game because there's not a lot of answers in there, but visually it does work. Mm-hmm. It works really well. It's just to go back to the interview or something. You sort of go into this thing when you're talking to somebody because somebody asked me, it was Amos that asked me when we talked to Maury, did you ask him if the Sixers ever talked to him or not? And you sort of go into these things and you're like, what am I going to get an answer out of? So I think when we go into the Joel thing, part of it is we know we have 35 or 40 minutes with him. We know that he's not, if you've heard interviews with him, he's not super talkative. So the last thing that you want to do is ask him a question that is a throwaway. So part of it is you want to go in and you want him to enjoy himself too. So it comes across as something that people enjoy. So there are a million questions we could have asked him. And I think time, and then is he really going to give you the answer that you want anyway? Total fourth quarter shots that you would call big shots by Furkan Korkmaz. Over under 1.5.
Now, does he have to make the shot?
Yeah, yes. Big makes.
Okay, big makes. I'll say over 1.5. I'll say over. Yeah.
All right. Of the 8, the seeding round, over under wins, and this is the DraftKings over under. Over under wins 5.5. Can I tell you? That schedule comes out and everyone looks at it and they're like, easy. And then we jokingly go, we're going to lose all those. And all of a sudden I look at them and now it looks fucking hard. Somehow it's gotten to the point where Portland looks legit and there's Houston in there and Indiana. And we are always play poorly against Orlando and Spurs have our number. All of a sudden it looks hard. Over under 5.5 wins of the 8.
I'll say a savior wins under. A get the Oklahoma City pick under. You're lucky I didn't ask him about the Oklahoma City pick. It's the most important thing we got right now.
Well, we're definitely getting the Oklahoma City pick. Okay, so Ben Simmons shoots 1 of 2 from 3 in the first scrimmage.
Mm-hmm. You do a little victory lap.
I was right. But then does not shoot another 3 in the next 2 games. And I will say, this is a side thing. It did seem like Shake also brought the ball up a lot less in the next 2 games while Simmons was in there, to my eye. So over under, Ben Simmons made 3s in all of the 8 seeding games in the playoffs. This was 2.5 in our DraftKings pool. I'm going to raise it to 4.5 over under.
Interesting, because in this document that you sent me, it says 5.5.
Well, 5.5. It seems like
you're
too
losing
much.
Confidence a little bit in yourself, even.
Well, I want to make it a harder question for you, and I felt like 5.5 was an easy under for you.
Sure. this is over the course of everything, the whole Orlando.
Yeah.
Over 4.5. I'll say, no, I'm going to say under. I'm going to say under because I'm going to hold on to the slight pessimism about that I feel. And that was, bolstered by the 2 games of not shooting.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer. Like it brings you back to, you can watch the games and then you can go through screenshots and you can go, well, he didn't really have a chance, or he was open at this point and he didn't do it. But he was the only player aside from Norval Pell in those 2 games that didn't shoot a 3. Like, if you're not shooting one, it's because you didn't want to shoot one, not because the opportunity didn't come up. It's certainly in today's NBA.
Of course.
It did, like, when we talked to Joel, I asked him, and I knew he wasn't really going to give me an answer. It was sort of like I was taking a shot if Ben was shooting them for him, in the same way that Joe sort of shoots them for Ben on some level. The team looked so good while they were both in the game in that first game in the first half with Ben in that new role. And then we didn't see so much of it in the next 2 games. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't shake me a little bit. Like, it was a little shook on like, oh, are we just doing this to prove that we can and then not actually doing it? Or are we really actually doing it? That was the only thing that went through my mind watching those games. And I guess I'm just curious if it went through yours. There
was one moment I think it probably was the Dallas game, where Horford was post up on the low block and Ben was on the opposite wing with his hands up ready to shoot, like calling for the ball.
I thought it was Tobias posting up, but you could be right. It could have been Embiid. It could have been Embiid, yeah. Well, no, it wasn't Embiid. It was Tobias.
I said Horford.
Oh, Horford, right.
Might have been Tobias. So I was like, okay, at least there. But it really has to be just a conscious decision of, letting somebody else bring up the ball, and also be like, spacing the court. Like Joel talking about, and this is a kind of a poignant thing as far as Joel doesn't like a lot of movement when he's posting. He's like, I can score if I'm here. And if they double, I want to know exactly where everyone else is. And they're spaced the floor, they're all over, so people can't cover, the same 2 players at once. And so Ben needs to be one of those guys. And so, so I feel like he's just got to willingly choose to space the floor. And if he doesn't, then he's not going to just find himself doing it. It has to be like, okay, I'm here, and the ball gets swung to me. I'm open. I'm taking it.
And I guess, like AU is working on a final, like a predictions article for team rights to Ricky Sanchez. It is fucking cool to see all the people we have, as part of our thing and that can make predictions. I'm most looking forward to Abby's, who doesn't like sports. I guess, what do you think is going to happen?
For the next maybe 16 hours, I think they're going to win the championship.
Okay.
And the glow is not going to leave for a little bit, but then they're going to have a 12-point first quarter on Saturday. It's going to be like, all right, that was fun. But I believe in, I've always believed in the possibilities. I believe in how much Shake is just automatic. I think by enough of the bench guys that are capable here and there, like Matisse had a couple really nice moments and then was kind of sloppy and useless a little bit. Alec Burks was certainly scoring in bunches against Dallas. I thought Glenn Robinson looked great in that first game. Korkmaz useful when he is like, there's enough guys of like, you really only need 3 legitimate bench guys. Horford, I think, especially when he was shooting as well as he was, is 1. And so you really need 2 of them. And they don't have 2 like automatic, yes, that guy's definitely in there, but they have like 6 maybes, which is more than they had last year. And so I believe in scrounging up enough of rotational minutes out of those 6 guys to fill those like 2 slots. And so I do generally feel good about this team. I think when they're locked in, they look great. But they still lack a lot of ball handling at times and a little less shooting than you want at times. And we talked about last podcast about Josh Richardson being a trade target for a guy that is just more willing to shoot right away or dribble right away if you're like something in the if it's a package with a Horford in the future. But for now, we have who we have, and so you just need those guys to be willing to shoot right away. And are they comfortable with it? No, but I think they still have enough to make it a game, and it always comes down to Joe.
So it's going to be more negative than most people want, but more positive than most people expect with me and the team. Like, I don't know when they're going to lose. Like, I don't know whether it's going to be in the second round. I don't know whether it's going to be in the conference finals. I think they likely, I'm a little bit nervous about a Boston first round matchup, but pretty sure they would beat Miami or Indiana without like much issue, actually.
I feel like we fucking sweep Boston.
I don't. Maybe we do. I don't even fucking know. It's been half a year since we've seen any of the teams play, so I don't really know. But here's what I will say is that, like, I think if we can get through one round and get to a second round, what will come of this is sort of like a framework for the future. In that, I think like Horford ends up traded, and I think Josh ends up traded. But like, I don't think either of those guys is a key to this team moving forward. I appreciate what they both have. I actually think you can get a taker for Horford. I don't think you can with Tobias. I think Tobias can stick on this team fine. He's obviously overpaid, but he can stick on this team fine. I think like at the end of this, what we'll find is that like Shake Milton is, whether he is the guy that starts or not, will be like a rotation player, a creator, a shooter, exactly what we need, whether he's the sixth man or the starter when they get another point guard. I don't know. I think Korkmaz is like a legitimate rotation player. Like I really do. I think he's a rotation player. I think Thibault like is obviously a rotation player. I think people got a little ahead of themselves on like what he is now. Sure. And I'm a little worried about him offensively, especially with his age, but like there's something there. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think
and you've already named, the main three guys.
Yep.
Plus whoever we get in the Horford to Josh situation.
Right.
And then three young, cost-controlled, Korkmaz maybe not as cost-controlled if depending on what happens with the option that they didn't pick up. But enough guys that it's like, that's starting to be something. Like that's starting to add up into like a real easy rotation that you can fill out with other useful players.
And then whoever ends up, I don't think Brett will be here next year. So like whatever ends up being, I still am amazingly suspect of the front office, amazingly suspect of ownership, all those things.
Yeah.
But like, I do think that if Ben can commit to having somebody bring the ball up the floor and allow the team to commit to having another creator and shooter on the floor who can have the ball at the end of the game, whether that's, look, Shake can start with another guard next year if Josh Richardson is not here.
Yeah,
right?
that should be the case.
So I think they will come out of this year, at least from a player personnel standpoint. I hope they come out with like a deep breath. And that's what I think they will come out with is like, wow, Shake Milton can play. Furkan Korkmaz can play. He's not perfect, but he can play. Simmons is willing to sacrifice a little bit here. And Embiid is still Embiid. And Tobias Harris is Tobias Harris. And like, if what it will come down to is it always comes down in the future is Embiid or Simmons still has to just be a guy that can win a championship for you. That's it. That's like full stop. They're not getting another guy who can do that. But I believe that they will have a framework to which they could create an infrastructure into where if one of those players is capable of doing it, it is possible. And it's like sort of a half-assed prediction, but that is, I think, an optimistic look at it for me.
No, I agree. And I do think it's optimistic for you. I think there's this past offseason was not like a rousing success for them, but they have enough pieces where they still are in a good enough shape where surrounding Ben, Joel, and Tobias and the rotation players you already named with other guys who are just quicker shots and a little more capable, playable ball handling, that it's like, that's a team. Like, and whether that means, all right, with Brett, they're just not going to hit that ceiling, but that's certainly all of the makings of a perennial championship contender. So maybe that means Brett's not the guy in this situation. Okay. We'll see how this goes. This is a really weird canvas to evaluate. Like, should we fire a coach? But I think you have seen enough. But if there's a way to go, like, well, if they make a run to the conference finals, then let's run it back in whatever form we can with a couple upgrades here and there, and finally allow some level of continuity with this team. At the very least, there are still going to be like 5-6 core players, rotation players that are going to like spend more time building around each other. And they're still young. There's still a lot of young guys in this team, and the window closes faster than you want it to. But I feel very good long-term, very good for another 16 hours about Orlando with Embiid. And like, I think I'm in the same boat with you as far as the front office and ownership go. Yeah. Because they've proven themselves at like moments. They haven't been all zeros, but certainly a lot of question marks.
You know, one of the things that Maury said when we had Maury on the pod is that like he believed that Sam would have been like aggressive, get. And
Which is what they did to some extent.
Right. And I had some people say, well, this justifies what they did. And I'm like, well, not really. Like, it justifies the idea of what they did, but it doesn't justify exactly what they did. And if you listen, Maury talks about doing it Maury made like a Kawhi. Maury talked about doing it for a 1-year rental. Like,
well, Jimmy also was that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I just think like, just because Hinkie would have gone all in, like, doesn't mean that he would have traded,
of course, 2 picks
in Shamet for Tobias. So, do you want to do a couple of mailbag questions? You want to get out of here? What do you want to do? I feel like
I'm ready to sort of coast on the Embiid win. I will say just to follow up your last point. Like, I don't think that the fatal flaw in this organization was the Jimmy trade, and I don't think that the fatal flaw in this organization was the Tobias trade. I think it was Markelle. Like, and I don't disagree with them doing it because, again, I thought he was the guy. And you can tell even for Embiid, like, it still feels like raw to him, like that it didn't work out because we all just thought it was like, this is it. Here we go. We're going with these guys. And for it to not happen, the way it happened just set us back in such a profound way. And I think that they rebounded with the Jimmy and Tobias things as they could. And Jimmy didn't want to sign here and be, off ball a lot of the time with Ben. It was not a tenable situation. I think Tobias is overpaid, but mostly fits in pretty good. You can't just construct a team like in a lab with all the perfect things. I think you do what you can, and I think he's a really good player and a really good leader and a locker room guy, and has improved his defense to where he's very playable on that side. But I think the thing that you miss is just like how much time and resources you've spent on Markelle, which was just a total zero. And I feel bad about it. I think that's the thing with being a Sixers fan, right? It's like every step of the way, it's like there's this very special thing that you have that you feel like we're a unique team in the league, and if this thing works out, then they can't stop us. And then you carry the like total weight of all the things that didn't work out and the things that were frustrating and the almosts, And so I think that's just like such a part of this fan base is like at the same time you can hold the holy shit, it seems like Embiid and Simmons really like each other and want to play and want to be with each other more than they ever had. And then at the same time, it's like Markelle and Jimmy and the, bad draft picks that they made, Possesniks, like those things are always like, and maybe it's me or something, but I feel like the fan base carries it all with us like at the same time. And I feel like that's what makes being a Sixers fan incredibly frustrating and unique.
I'm going to have to force you. They're both going to be short, but I feel like there are two very important questions I have to ask you from the mailbag. I'm going to have to ask you to give me this leeway to ask you these questions. Both quick. All right.
Cool.
The first one comes from Bob. Lorenzo Brown mailbag. Send us an email, rightstoRickySanchez@gmail.com. By the way, thank you to everybody over this. Like, this is the last pod we're doing before they start again. Thank you. The number of emails we've got is fucking insane over this time. And one time during the next offseason, we'll catch up on all of them. This comes from Bob. For the return of the Sixers this weekend, plus losing 30 pounds since quarantine started on March 12th, I'm going to make a, quote, special sandwich. I've been told it's the best thing we got on the street. I've begun to Google where to order my ingredients, but I've asked myself this question in the process. What is an original stromboli? A, just cheese, B, pepperoni and cheese, or C, other?
Oh, weird. Embiid's still there. He's listening to this whole thing. He's hearing this whole Stromboli conversation. Wow.
He didn't hang on long enough. If he'd only hung on. To me, an original Stromboli is cheese and sauce.
I think so.
Right? That's an original Stromboli. It's like a pizza.
That's how I see a Stromboli, but I don't consider myself a Stromboli expert.
Yeah. And finally, this is from Liz. Hi, Spike and Mike. Love the pod. Thanks for keeping it up during these bizarre times. I love all the guests that have been on. My basketball question, is for Mike. Congratulations. You've just won an all-expenses-paid trip for 4 to an island in the Caribbean. After careful deliberation, you've locked in your crew, including yourself. You decide to take Shake Milton, LL Pavorsky, and your dad. You're a little nervous at first because none of you have ever really spent time together as a group. But after a few Bloody Marys at the airport, it's like you're old friends. Once you've been in the sky for a few hours, the pilot makes a sudden announcement that you're about to hit severe turbulence. The rest is a blur. The 4 of you wake up on a deserted island, the only survivors of a plane crash. You're in disbelief. Once you're over the initial shock, you begin to explore the island, but unfortunately you find nothing. The days begin to blend together. You think you've been stranded for weeks now, maybe months. You've managed to collect small amounts of fresh water you find on leaves and have been eating grubs you find under dead tree branches, but it's not enough. You forget what it's like to feel full. One morning you look over at Shake, LL, and your dad. You begin to think things you've never thought you'd think. You need to eat one of them to survive. Between Shake, LL Pavorsky, and your dad, who would you eat to survive? Just 2 qualifiers. Mike cannot take the easy way out and eat himself.
A very easy way out.
Yeah. And assume once you ate the person, you would be rescued soon after. Love always, Liz.
It was a fun hypothetical.
Yeah.
So find out who I would be in the Lost simulation with, of course, my dad, my sponsor, and favorite Sixer. Eating Shake is untenable because he's sinewy.
Yeah.
So it would have to be one of LL or my dad, who are both father figures to me. Eating my dad is a little odd. In one way, it's good because it's familiar, and so I'm at least eating my heritage. But on the other hand, is it like forcing a chicken to eat itself or eat other chickens, which is very odd. And so I don't know about that. I might go LL. He seems like he's a good tasting guy. He smells good all the time.
There's just more meat on the bone.
There's more meat on the bone.
Scrawny, yeah.
I probably eat LL, and I hope he doesn't get offended by that. I hope he takes it as a compliment. Although, as far as if we need to stay on an island, my dad and I are both pretty useless, so maybe LL has more skills. So I'm not sure. How about you?
I don't know. I'd eat LL.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd eat LL or Shake. Shake is skinny, but he works out. I feel like that there's food there. So
sure.
yeah,
he's tall.
Yep. All right. Well, we will.
And what a good way to end the
pod.
the most important podcast we've ever done.
Yep.
That's good.
We will talk to you on Sunday after a Sixers game that counts officially in some weird way. I told you we would make it. I fucking told you we'd made it.
I can't believe we're back. I feel good about it and also very conflicted because of the state of the world and watching baseball fall apart. But, absolute impressive display by the NBA of showing how to hold this pretty safely, it seems. Long way to go. But, I just wish we weren't in a pandemic. I really wish it.
Well, we all wish. But this will be a respite. So I thank the NBA for doing what they've done. So, all right. Well, thank you for listening. If you're new, thank you for sticking with us through 2 podcasts a week for 4.5 months when there was no basketball. July will be our biggest podcast download month of all time.
Wow.
So I thank you for listening. So, we will talk to you on Sunday after a Sixers game. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, like this.
If you don't fuck with me, then I won't fuck with you. If you don't fuck with me, then I won't fuck with you.
If you don't fuck with me, then I won't fuck with you.
If you don't fuck with me,
then I won't fuck with you.
But if you fuck with me,
I'm gonna fucking kill you!
Time for Plan B.